Boom, Shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shu, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Sobrada from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia, home of the New World Order, mate. Home of the Actually, I think that's New Zealand, but I don't know. Australia or New Zealand? Let us know in the comments below. Who do you think are the most sheepish right now? Now, be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, drop us some comments, let us know what it is. And here we are, once again, in a lockdown, like a full-fledged lockdown. In fairness, we've never really left the lockdown ever since this thing took place. We've all been having various forms of restrictions being implemented. And whereas a lot of people have been saying, oh, look, Australia's all true blue, mate. Because we did such a great job by locking everyone down, depriving them of their freedoms, which led to more and more suicides, which led to people's businesses being ruined. Now we're all a safe country, and we don't have any cases of the dreaded Rona. But lo and behold, here we are, 2021. We are still implementing the same kind of restrictions, the same kind of coercive measures, and we are still battling this thing. And there are more and more and more strains, it seems, right? Strains of the Rona. It would almost seem as if the restrictions aren't having much effect. No, but of course, they're working, they're doing the right thing. The alternative is we would let this thing get away with us, and we can't have that. So here we are in another lockdown, and the people in Melbourne are really feeling it. I've been speaking to many people. I went to see my Auntie Nunu, got my hair braided just yesterday, and I asked her, how are you doing, Auntie? And she was like, it is very hard. I had to stay up all night working just to try to pay the bills. You know, and I'm letting her know that, look, there's support that she can ask for, that she needs to get on Centrelink and ask for support, that, yeah, the government's essentially locking her down, preventing her from doing her job, but they have to give her some kind of support. And this is the difficult thing. Whereas when we initially had these lockdowns, there was a lot more support, right? A lot more payments from Centrelink, which is the social security system that we have here in Australia, mate. That stuff has become tough. Not everyone is entitled to these payments, and more people are not able to pay their rent. More and more people are having their businesses ruined. And I keep hearing the same story from so many locals that they can't continue with this stuff. But of course, we got to have these lockdowns to protect everyone, right? And what's interesting is that not even that long ago, people were saying that the lockdowns have done such a great job here in Australia, that because of the lockdowns, essentially now we don't have any real lockdowns. Everything's back to normal in Australia, right? Even though essentially we still had all these minor restrictions in place. But it turns out that, well, several months later, this is 2021, we are still seeing these restrictions. We are still having cases. And as a result, we are still experiencing this Orwellian system that does not show any sign of letting up. All in the interest of keeping us safe. All in the interest of protecting us, right? And of course, Daniel Andrews, ScoMo, they're saying that, look, we're not going to go back to normal unless everyone gets boom shakalaka, or specifically, we have about 80% of the population here getting the boom shakalaka. It's been kicked down the can. I mean, initially, we were looking at 95%. That was the target, right? We wouldn't go back to normal until... First, it was we wouldn't go back to normal until everyone was boom shakalaka. Then it was officially 95%. Look, mate, we've got to have 95%. That's the magic number. Now, the can has been kicked to 80%. Look, mate, 80% is the new magic number. And they're realizing that not everyone is going to go along with this. I mean, the more and more people I've been speaking to, the more and more I've been realizing that there are a lot of people that are just not having it. I spoke to my auntie. She was telling me some horrible stories about what has been happening in Uganda with people that have been taking the boom shakalaka. And of course, I didn't believe any of it because, you know, I know everything is just conspiracy theory. I trust the science. But there are a lot of people you got to realize that have no intention of taking this stuff. Of course, I'm going to do it. Of course, I've already done it. I mean, I identify as having taken the boom shakalaka because I'm a trans backside, even though I haven't. And the crazy thing is people are still pushing this narrative that you got to do it. It's to save lives. When in actuality, people are dying every day from suicide. I mean, just the other day, we had the highest number of calls to the Lifeline department. Lifeline records the highest daily number of phone calls in history. Lifeline is this service for people that are feeling a little unsure of themselves. It's a suicide hotline. They had some 3,345 callers who reached out to the suicide prevention service, and this is on Monday. And of course, this is all coincidental. It's got nothing to do with any of the lockdowns or restrictions. And this is the thing that you will never hear the politicians say. You'll never hear these momos that are advocating for essentially violence, this Orwellian communist regime that essentially deprives you of your unalienable rights, that is fundamentally evil. Make no mistake about it. Always has been, always will be. They're telling you that it's to save lives and you're selfish, when in actuality, they're forcing you to wear a mask, to compromise your own bodily integrity, compromising you, enforcing these restrictions by inciting the government to bring them about, actively wanting to have everyone boom shakalaka. And those very actions are what are leading to the ruining of businesses, increased suicides, and in a lot of cases, the police actually just murdering people. I mean, objectively. I mean, what do you think happens when someone doesn't want to go ahead with a ridiculous mandate that has been written by some bureaucrat on a piece of paper and has been implemented by these pigs, essentially? When people refuse this stuff, they end up being killed. This is what is happening all around the world. People are refusing to go along with ridiculous mandates, and they're being killed. And you want to know who's responsible for it? It is the momos out there that are inciting these kind of restrictions. It's the governments that are advocating for this stuff to be legislated. But first and foremost, make no mistake about it, it is the police officers that are implementing this kind of tyranny. These people that want to say, "Oh, look, man, I trust the popo. They're good police officers out there." Well, look, in fairness, there may be some that are perhaps in disguise, and they're trying to infiltrate the system in some kind of like conspiracy fashion attempt to overthrow the current police order. I don't know. But if you were one of these police officers that is advocating for this stuff, that is actively locking people up, actively coercing them to go ahead with these mandates, then there is a special place in hell for you. Oh! But in Melbourne, we have had some fierce resistance. Last night, we had people amassing on the Flinders Street steps under the clocks to say nay to the tyranny that has befallen this city. We've had thousands of people protesting. And there is a silent majority of people, millions of people that are not in line with what is going on. Now, of course, a lot of people were arrested. We're seeing the police being more heavy-handed. We're seeing police officers arrest minors.
So let's say you arrested me right now. What would you say? You do not have to say or do anything, but anything you say or do may result.
Just so you understand, that does not apply to the requirement under the Crimes Act to state your name and address. That portion does not apply to that.
I know, but the current legislation is incriminating. Don't you get it? I mean, sorry, not the current. The current giving your name and address, if you're outside of the 10-kilometre radius, is incriminating. That's the problem with this all. I
haven't given you a call.
Pardon?
I haven't given you a call.
No, but
I'm just asking
the
you
purpose.
for your name and address.
I understand that.
It's your legal requirement to abide by that request.
Provide incriminating evidence. It's not an offence. to be...
Is it incriminating to have a name?
Pardon? Well, it's incriminating to go outside of your address and provide that and be forced to provide that information by police if
Just so you
demanded.
understand,
Yeah.
your argument doesn't really work because if I arrested someone for a burg in someone else's house, they're still have to give me their name and address. It doesn't work like that.
I understand
So,
that, right?
we're being-
That's
we're
fair
being-
enough.
we're being relaxed,
Because
bro.
your name and address in normal circumstances isn't incriminating.
Okay.
Because there's no laws.
They need a reason to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. We have our reason that we
believe
believe
that you're not out here.
On based on what? Based on what do you believe
Based
that?
on what?
that you're hanging around on the stairs. You've been here the whole time I've been here the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You're not wearing a mask. You're not undertaking any work. You're not doing anything to me that appears to be in line with trade directions.
The only thing that you're doing here is approaching police or approaching other people that they're That's the only
Because that's my duty as a citizen here in Australia to keep police accountable.
That's not one of the 5 reasons to be leaving home.
Okay.
So
If
you'll
let
find
me
to
ask you
stand
this,
next to
guys. If it was illegal for me to exist right now, let's say we were back in occupied France, 1943, and it was
We're
illegal.
not-
No, I'm
I need
asking
your
you a
name and
question.
address. I need your name and address.
Okay, I'm not going to give you my name and address.
Okay.
What I will tell you is that I am a minor and I'm under the age of 18. That is what I'll tell you. That's all I'll tell you. Because that's not incriminating.
Okay.
But I'm not going to give you...
Is it incriminating to have an name?
Pardon?
Is it incriminating to have a name?
No. Or, no,
So
but
what's
you
your
can
name?
use that name to discover where I live based on the potential... Hello, how are you?
G'day, mate. You need to just tell them where you are. You're not meant to be within 10 kilometres of your home address.
I understand that, sir.
Okay,
But you
what
see-
they need to do, by laws, they need to verify where you're from with your details.
I understand that, sir, but you see...
So what you need to do is
I-
either give them your details or they arrest you for the period that they can identify who you are and where you live.
Okay.
So you need to provide your details, otherwise they'll arrest you.
The problem, you see, what I understand your point, I understand your contention, and I empathise with that and understand it, but I want to make my point clear to you. I've made it clear to these 2 officers here.
This is not my point, this is the law.
I understand that, but
So
the
are you
problem...
prepared to give them your details of your name and your address?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Pardon?
Yes or no?
Let me think about it.
I'll say it again.
What's the cost-benefit analysis here?
Thing is, look, I'm going to be real with you. A lot of people want to blame different factions of the community, but there are so many people that are complicit in this, so many people that are in favor of this stuff. I watched a video, and I've always known this, but it indicates that there is an overwhelming amount of people that are willing to force you to undergo this medical procedure because they're scared of these different strains that are coming about. Take a look at this.
I want to see if Americans are willing to arrest those others who refuse to take this coronavirus vaccine, violating the most fundamental rights of one's personal liberty. You know, a lot of people still haven't taken the vaccine with everything that's going on, so we're trying to mandate the vaccination. No, we want to start arresting them if they're not going to be taking that.
Are you kidding me?
That's what the petition is for, sir. You don't...
Man, that's fascism, man.
Quick, we support mandating the vaccine. A lot of people still refusing to take it, and they're putting the rest of us at risk. So we're going to start mandating the vaccine or start arresting these anti-vaxxers if they're not going to follow the rules. Birth date and a signature. I don't want to hear any of this my body, my choice stuff in today's New World Order. We're gonna put things right.
Absolutely, we all need that.
Thank you. So we're going to start having them arrested if they refuse.
I agree.
Print, birth date, signature to incarcerate the anti-vaxxers. I'm not sure what country they think they're living in. Some people are concerned about any possible long-term side effects that haven't shown up in studies yet, but the time to worry about that's in the future. So for now, they can worry about that in jail if they refuse to take the vaccine. It's time for some firm measures to take care of these people, and you know, they can... Well, it's time to give them a little incentive, and they can think about what they've done sitting in jail until they're ready to take the jab. Thank you. We signed the petition to start arresting these anti-vaxxers that haven't got the vaccine yet.
You want to arrest people for not getting a vaccine?
They're contributing to the Delta variant being spread.
You're a
Now,
scumbag, dude.
Okay, yeah. Oh, dude, you're surprised how many people, all these people signed and agreed.
Well,
They want to arrest the
they're
Antifa.
all idiots.
They are all idiots. Well, thank you for not being one, sir. Appreciate that.
This is the kind of moral turpitude that we are dealing with. And make no mistake about it, unequivocally, this stuff is absolutely unlawful. It is immoral. It always has been. It violates the very letter of law that we have been working under in the Western civilization, the idea of natural rights, the common law. If this was a conversation that was been had 50 years ago, this stuff would have been laughed at. The idea of implementing a system where you restrict people the ability to move around, confine them to their homes, confine them to radiuses, it is unbelievably unlawful. It is a communist-style dictatorship implementation of the most disgusting thing we have seen in recent times. And the fact that so many of you people have such an obfuscated way of seeing the world. And look, I realize that a lot of you are concerned about your friends and family. I realize a lot of you people have hearts, but unfortunately, a lot of you people are momos, don't understand history, and have no understanding of actual law, justice, and morality, and think that because you want something, because you have good intentions, you have the right to force people to compromise their freedoms, which is the very definition of what we call unlawful conduct. It violates the rights of the individual. It is evil. It is immoral, plain and simple. And the very fact that we have so many people right now that are advocating for this kind of stuff really shows the times, really shows that if there is going to be change, we not only need to hold politicians, police officers accountable, but we need to change the culture. We need to uplift the vibration of the planet to a planet that not only values working together, staying together by staying apart and working together as one, because we're all part of the collective, but also values freedom, choice, sovereignty, which is the hallmark of a civil society. Without this, you cannot have a just society. You simply have an Orwellian system where 51% of people decide to implement the most totalitarian regime. It is essentially a dictatorship, a fascist regime. It is evil, plain and simple. And a lot of you momos out there that think I'm speaking rats, this is just my opinion. You guys need to read a history book. You guys need to think with your hearts and your heads. I'm sick of all these people saying, oh, I care, I'm woke. I'm woke, I care about people, and we got to save lives. We got to save lives, so you all got to stay at home. Not realizing that you're actually advocating for the most evil, tyrannical regime. To try to do the right thing by doing the wrong thing is not doing the right thing. It is doing evil. And this is what you work under when you're working under this totalitarian, communist-style system where you think you can lock people down, force people to get boom shakalaka, deprive them of their unalienable rights because of your concern for what might happen. We're all living in this bubble of what might happen. For all you know right now, by you advocating for the stuff that you're advocating for, you are complicit in, and I don't want to go into any science because this is YouTube, but there is evidence to suggest that we're seeing mutations. And I have to laugh as I even conspire this theory from going ahead with a lot of the boom shakalakas, right? I mean, haven't you seen the movie I Am Legend, right? You know what happens when you try to orchestrate some kind of boom shakalaka? Nature responds. Nature brings about different, more robust mutations that lead to even far worse scenarios. So the very act of trying to do evil in order to bring about good results in more evil. So you're damned either way. You're damned by actually committing evil, by depriving people of their unalienable rights, and then the outcome which you were hoping to be beneficial ends up not being so beneficial after all, actually creating far more harm than you could possibly imagine. And this is the story of these totalitarian systems throughout history. People that have good intentions often pave the way to the most evils in the world. Anyway, I don't want to get too philosophical with this, but this is what we are seeing happen all around the world right now. More and more restrictions. Now, fellow Australians, don't allow this to get to the point where we're seeing so many people boom shakalaka that we start seeing an implementation of the boom shakalaka passport, which is what is happening in the UK. Essentially, they hit their 80% target, and now they're seeing these passports implemented. I mean, this is essentially the plan. You get the majority to get on board with this shit, and now you can call for outrageous stuff like, oh, anyone that is not boom shakalaka can't leave their home. Must provide 100 points of ID and pay for testing before they can enter any business. Is not able to use Tinder or even OkCupid. Is not able to reproduce because you're a danger to all of your friends and family and all your children. You're crazy conspiracy. I mean, this is the theme that I've been seeing lately. People have been using, the Popo have been using the argument, the conspiracy theorists, people that have actually been correct throughout every stage of this agenda are not mentally fit because they actually value human rights. They actually value choice, which is what this civilization, well, the Western civilization, for the most part, was founded on, even though it's been obfuscated throughout the years. People that believe that, oh, people are incentivized to actually do horrible things throughout history, I mean, this is what has been shown, are unfit to make decisions about how they govern their own bodies. Therefore, they need to be put into a mental asylum. This is the kind of narrative that we are seeing put forth right now. This is a very... It is foreseeable that we would get to this point. This is always what happens. Oh, look, mate, I think you're not fit to make decisions for yourself, so I'm going to force you because it's in your best interest. Really. And the funny thing is that the people that are actually in a much better position to be making decisions for everyone else are the people that are usually least willing to make decisions for everyone else. They're the people often that are most fit to rule are the people that are completely against the idea of ruling anyone else but themselves. If you're one of these momos that wants to govern everyone's life because you have a good idea, not only are you a fool, but you are acting like an absolute douchebag. I am a king because I rule myself. And kings do not allow themselves to be ruled by Orwellian douchebags like the state, like the Popo, like doctors, or these priests of the scientific establishment. Because not only are they kings, but they are warriors. All kings, all true kings, are warrior kings. Like yours truly, the chocolate Nubian soul brother. I come from the land of Ghana, which means warrior king. I believe in sovereignty. And I believe in standing on the river of truth and saying nay to the tyranny like a true warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, stand strong against this tyranny. Do not acquiesce to these mandates. Remember that there is always a choice. Always a choice. And there are more and more people waking up every single day. There are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long, my brothers and sisters. The sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the chocolate boom shakalaka Nubian soul brother. Peace out, keep it real. Don't drive and text. And be sure to check out the links below. Support us, buy us a copy if you like what I'm doing. And check us out on the Telegram. And subscribe to the main channel. Can't post on there because I'm in the naughty corner, but I'll be black. I'll be back. Peace!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community? There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.